Hey guys, it's your girl Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. We are trying out a new to me brand today and we are testing Cali Girl Nail Dips. And I've been seeing quite a few manis lately with Cali Girl and it got me a little curious. So when I saw they were doing a sale, I figured it would be a great time to pick up some dips to test out. So we're gonna unbox these dips, take a look at everything, the swatches, and then we will put together a very simple glitter ombre with some of these colors. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around, we're getting into it. Okay guys, so before we crack open this package, I'm just going to let you know that from the time I placed the order to the time it got to me was 7 days, which I've said is pretty standard for small business, and that's fine as far as like delivery time for me. And given that this was a sale and she probably had an influx of orders, I think that's pretty darn good, so no issues there. And I've told people this before, but I live like way down on the coast in Texas, so it takes like 2 days just to get across the state of Texas, so you know, Texas problems. So I've been seeing a lot of manis lately with Cali Girl, like I said, and they've just kind of got my attention as far as some of the pretty glitters they've got and some of the gorgeous colors I've seen. So I was real interested to see how these went for me. So I got a pretty good variety here in this package. So let's go ahead and crack this one open and take a look. All right, so as per usual, we got everything mailed to us in a padded mailer, and then inside we have this mesh bag with all the dips. And this mesh bag is really cute because it has little stars on it, and then there's a little bit of paper confetti in there, so nice overall packaging. And just at first glance, it doesn't look like we have any spillage, so that is always good to see. So I went ahead and pulled everything out of the bag, so you can see I've got 12 dips here, and then I've got this nice pretty little business card with their contact info. And then it looks like we also got a sample which does not have a name on it, and from what I saw in their Facebook group, sometimes these are oopsies or like mystery colors, so I don't believe this is actually an existing glitter in their line, but really pretty. And then we've got a handwritten note in here, and I have to say I love these kind of special touches because I know that takes time, especially when you have a sale and a lot of orders. To take the time to write a handwritten note, that just really impresses me. So taking a look at the packaging here, this is interesting. So from what I could tell on their site, it appears they only sell teaspoon sample sizes and 1/4 ounce sizes, but this appears to be, or at least is very close to, a 1/2 ounce size jar. So I don't know if maybe that's just to prevent spillage, because I will admit, you know, there's some brands that sell them in this 1/4 ounce jars and they fill them up to the top and then you just make a huge mess with them. So I don't know if that was the thought behind it, or if maybe at some point they plan to sell 1/2 ounces. I'm not really sure, but I just thought that was interesting. So you've got the label on the side, you've got the sticker on top with this pretty little floral print, and then the name of the dip. So I guess the only other thing I'll say about that for me is that, again, I have such a large collection, so I like to buy 1/4 ounce sizes. But if they come in these 1/2 ounce size jars, they take up a little bit more space. So it's kind of a trade-off. It just kind of depends, I guess, on your perspective on that. All right, so we got 12 beauties here to take a look at. So let's go ahead and get into the swatches. I'm going to go through these solid / shimmers first. The first one we have here is called Orange You Glad. This is a very soft kind of creamsicle orange. Next we have what I'm calling Once in Coral, because I believe it's a play on words, but or Once in Coral, whatever you choose. But this is a slightly deeper version of the one I just showed you. Next up is Lilac It Like That, which straight up took me 3 times to say, but this is a soft, dusty lilac. Next up is Palm Springs Paradise, and this is a mid-tone pink with cooler undertones. Next is Guava Nice Day, and you know me, I love a good pun, so that's pretty cute. So this is a mid-tone pink with warmer undertones. Next we have Faux Shizzle, and I'm calling this more of like a hot coral color. Next we have Viridian, and this is a mid-tone purple with pink undertones. The last solid we have here, I have no idea how to say this, but I'm gonna guess maybe Pfeiffer Beach, but it's a really pretty mid-tone aqua. Moving into the glitters, I have one fine glitter here called Beach Lust, and don't let this one fool you. It is absolutely gorgeous when it's swatched. It has just the right amount of sparkle and it's such an easy formula. Moving into chunky glitters, the first one I have here is called Popsicle Kisses, and this might be a little more suited to spring, but I definitely think this is a mix I would wear year round. So it's really pretty. It's got some creamsicle orange, it's got some purple, it's got some blue, really nice. Next we have Sweet Tooth, and this is a really gorgeous mix of yellow and purple and pink and kind of like that creamsicle orange again. And last but not least, we have Spray Painted Sky, which, oh my god, I live for this combo. There's some orange, like sunset orange, there's some purple, some aqua, just, oh, so pretty. So just a couple things before we get into the mani here. I did want to show you these two sets of colors side by side. So on the left here we have Orangey Glad and Once in Coral, and then on the right we have Guava Nice Day and Palm Springs Paradise. Now I'm not saying these colors are exact matches at all. They're definitely not. You can visually see the differences. I guess what I'm just showing you is that some of these colors are pretty close together. So I don't know, unless you're like wanting to do maybe a tonal mani, if you would really need both of these. I think maybe you could just get away with one of the corals or oranges and one of the pinks, but again, that's totally a preference thing, and it is very difficult to shop for dip powder online because it's hard to see what the color is really going to be. And if I had known they were going to be this close together, I probably would have just picked up one of each. But again, that's no critique to the brand. I just want you guys to see this in case you're considering a purchase, how close some of these are. So I totally want to play with that Spray Painted Sky and the purple, but my husband is like, you always do purple manis. I'm like, no, I don't. And I showed him my Instagram feed and he's like, well, that's a lot of purple. Maybe you don't always do, but it's a lot of purple. So he made me feel bad about the purple. So I decided to play with this pink and coral instead, which I actually thought would be appropriate because it's kind of a nice send off. Because honestly, from this point on, you're going to see a lot of bright manis, and I'm not saying you'll never see these softer tones again, but this is kind of like my nod to saying goodbye to spring for me. Alright guys, I'm going to do something a little bit differently here. I'm going to actually back off for a little bit and let you watch me do the solids and take a look at them and see what you think of them. And then here, once we get closer to the glitter, I'll come back and tell you what I thought about them.
When I look at you like that, you lose it completely. Losing track of space and time. I don't want to go home looking for a reason to stay here all night. I wonder, do you feel it too? Magic between me and you, the way that you make me feel. You wonder if I feel the same, the blood's rushing through your veins. And then when I say your name, bet I'm everything you see. Bet I'm everything you need. We're high on this feeling, don't wanna come down. Just go on and tell me, get into my eyes. I'm everything you need. I'm everything you need. You usually don't share any secrets. Suddenly you're an open book. When I struggle to find the words, you get me completely. It's like I've known you forever, so I wonder, do you feel it too? Magic between me and you, the way that you make me feel. You wonder if I feel the same, the blood's rushing through your veins. And then when I say your name, bet I'm everything you see. Bet I'm everything you need. We're high on this feeling, don't wanna come down. Just go on and tell me, get into my eyes. I'm everything you need. 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 Bet I'm everything you see. Bet I'm everything you need. We're high on this
All right, so while I finish up the second layer of Guava Nice Day, this really pretty pink, let me give you my thoughts on these. So these are supposed to be more of like that shimmer that comes off more solid once it's dipped. So it's not like a super shimmery formula. You'll see the shimmer in the formula, but once you actually apply it and activate it, it's definitely a lot more subtle, which I don't mind because in a lot of cases, those will look really good matte as well because they almost come off more like a solid. So I don't know how well you could see the texture on these shimmers when I applied the first few layers, but it's almost kind of a dusty formula. And I know what you're thinking, you're like, Carrie, it's a powder, of course it's dusty, but maybe you could see what I mean. It just, I don't know, it looks a little bit dusty on the nail, but having said that, once I activated, that appearance kind of goes away. It just was definitely different than a lot of formulas I've used. You can kind of see it right there. You can kind of see how it looks just a little bit like dusty on the top. So you know, just an observation. I don't think it's a problem, again, because once I activated that appearance goes away, but I did find that to be a little bit interesting. And the other thing I will say is that I don't dislike this formula, but it's probably not my favorite solid formula. I don't think it's difficult to work with by any means, but it just didn't go on quite as smoothly as some other ones that I have in my collection. So again, I'm not trying to bash the brand. I hope that doesn't come off as being picky, because the thing is, if you do want to pick up some of these glitters, I don't think that you'd be disappointed in these solids. I just think the formula is just a little bit different than what I'm used to. So, you know, maybe not a favorite, but this is a first impression, so that can always change. Now I'm going to spoil it here a little bit by saying that once I filed and buffed these and top coated these finished colors look fantastic. So, you know, again, I'm not trying to say that they're not worth your purchase. I'm just trying to give you a full like thought process for me as far as my first impressions go. Alright guys, so we are getting into this pretty glitter here called Sweet Tooth, and I'm just loving the tones in this and how beautifully they coordinate with these solids. And I believe, if I remember right, I bought these in a trio, so if you actually want these colors, you can just purchase the trio and you'll get all of these colors. So that was kind of nice, and I do like how on their website they showed a lot of great pairings or the collections as a whole, because that really does make choosing colors a lot easier. Now let me get into my thoughts about the chunky glitters, because you guys, this chunky glitter formula is so bomb. And I feel like I can safely speak for the other 3 chunky glitters I bought, because they all swatched the same way. This is an excellent, excellent chunky glitter formula. And if you're somebody who loves the look of them but hates them because they're such a pain in the butt to work with, you really need to try these, because I think they'll just blow you away with how easy they are. And I'll show you a side-on view here after the second layer, but I'm talking like nothing sticking up, everything lays nice and flat, just super easy to use. And when you combine it with a medium drying liquid here, like this Vivid Glam Co that I'm using, I mean, I'm telling you, it is super easy. It could not be any easier than this chunky glitter. One of the things that I think makes this glitter formulation so user-friendly, and watch again as I pick up too many chunkies on that second layer. I've been doing that a lot lately, so thank God for my Vivid Glam Co liquids to make it really easy to fix that. But yeah, they have such a nice variation between the fine glitters, the small glitters, the medium glitters, and the large glitters. It's just such a perfect ratio that, you know, you can easily cover up any of those blank spots with the smaller pieces, and you can use the bigger pieces as your accent. And all of them just really coordinate so well and lay so flat together that it just really could not be easier. So I did end up hand placing a few pieces, but that's not because the pickup wasn't good. It was just that I wanted more of a color variation in the chunky pieces that I had on my nail. But yeah, after a little bit of that, I was extremely satisfied, and I'll show you a side-on view of this here in a second. But I mean, really just super easy to use. So extremely pleased with this glitter formula, and I can't wait to try out the others. Alright, so I'm finishing with my ultimate favorite here, my Vivid Glam Co. Crystal Glass for my clear. I'm just going to encapsulate this glitter and not the other fingers because I really don't feel like they need it, but I just want that encapsulation on the glitter now. All right, take a look at the side on view of this. This is after 2 layers and some clear, and look how flat it is. I mean, it's pretty much as flat as my solid nails. Don't have any pieces sticking up. It's just so beautiful. I'm just really impressed with this chunky glitter formula. All right, so I'm gonna jump off camera real quick and file and buff that you can see this glitter nail is gonna need very, very little work, just a little bit of cleanup around the edge. But yeah, I'm gonna take care of that, and then we will be right back for the ombre. Alright, so I went ahead and finished up everything but that middle nail with my gel top coat, and you can see everything filed and buffed beautifully. Everything looks really pretty. So I'm ready to go in with that ombre on the middle finger, and you may be asking yourself why I didn't do that earlier. It's because I'm going to be using my cheater ombre method that I like to use when I'm doing it with my non-dominant hand, because I've mentioned this before, but I cannot tap with my left hand. I just can't do it. So I need a little bit more time to work on the ombre, so that's why we're going to use my little cheater method. So if you haven't seen me do this before, basically what I do is instead of using dip base, I'm using gel base there, and that gives me all the time in the world to tap and hand place and do everything I need to do. And then once I'm happy with it, I can go ahead and cure it. And it just gives me a little bit more play time than using dip liquids, or I have to do less like hand placing, because yeah, even though I'm hand placing it, like I don't have to keep putting down more and more liquid. So I just find that it works really well for me. Now I do ombre sometimes with dip liquids for sure, but especially like I said, if I'm using my non-dominant hand to do the tapping, like look how much I'm failing here already. So if I'm using my non-dominant hand to tap on the ombre, I just like to do it with the gel. It just makes things easier on me. Alright, so here I am after I did my ombre and a bit of hand placing, and I like to kind of gently like tap the glitters down to make sure everything's nice and flat before I cure it. And then after I've done that, I'll go over it with another layer of gel base just to kind of seal all that in before I go in with my top coat. You could definitely do more than one layer of the ombre. You could do more than one layer of the gel if you have too much sticking up that you need additional layers of gel to cover it. It's really kind of whatever your preference is. Now, I do recommend having a gel base that you use just for these glitters, because with the fine glitter pieces in there, they're just going to get stuck in the brush every time, and then you're going to go over solid and get glitter in it. So it's just my recommendation, especially if you pick up the eye gel that you can get on a 60% discount. It's not that difficult to get one that you can have just for glitters, but that's just my opinion. Okay guys, so here is the mani all finished, and I love the vibes of this one. The colors just look so beautiful together. So they definitely gave me kind of like that rainbow sherbet vibe. So I decided now was the perfect time to pull out my Scales of a Mermaid in What's the Scoop, which that's what it smells like. It smells like rainbow sherbet, and I just love it. Wait, do you guys say sherbet or sherbet? I just realized I was saying sherbet, but I think I really say sherbet most of the time. I always ponder the big questions in life. But anyway, if you are wanting to pick up this or any of the other amazing formulas from Scales of a Mermaid, I am an ambassador for them. I do have a discount code for you, and it is Carrie10. Make sure you're using that when you're shopping at Scales, and you will get 10% off your purchase. Alright guys, so here is the final look, and like I said, I'm loving the way these colors look together, and I feel like these tones are like the perfect transitional colors between spring and summer, because they're not too soft and they're not too bright yet. So I feel like this is going to be a great send-off to get us into summer. So let me just wrap up my thoughts here. The solid slash shimmer formula that I used was definitely a little bit different than what I'm used to, but you can see the finished nails look beautiful, and I didn't have any trouble with filing and buffing. So that's just a preference thing. And again, I don't think these are bad. They're just a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I think if you're wanting to pick some of these up to go with a glitter you're planning on picking up, I don't think you'll dislike them. It's just the formula is just a little bit different than what I'm used to. And you already know how I feel about the chunky glitters. They're just A++. I feel like these are one of the best chunky glitter formulas in the game. Super user friendly, very easy to use, and I'm loving the ratio between the finer pieces, the smaller pieces, and the large pieces. So really I have to hand it to her for this glitter formula. It's really so amazing. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know if you've tried Cali Girl Nail Dips, and if you have, let me know what your experiences are, because I would love to hear your thoughts as well. And if you haven't tried them, let us know if you're planning on trying them, and if so, what do you have your eye on? Okay guys, so that is going to complete this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, it would help me out so much if you would give me a thumbs up down below. And while you're there, if you have not subscribed already, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. And don't forget that notification bell. We got new content coming every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Central. So as always, guys, thank you for taking time here today to hang out with me. I appreciate you so much. I love you to pieces, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.